Hello you lovely people, and welcome back to my channel, Cook with Joy. For today's video, I wanted to share a recipe that my mom would make usually around Christmas time, but just the holidays in general, and that is homemade caramel corn. This is a super simple recipe. You make the caramel corn in the microwave. I actually am going to make the popcorn for the caramel corn on my stovetop because that is how I make popcorn, but you could certainly make your popcorn however you're used to making it, but I will show you how I make it on my stovetop because I don't think most people realize how simple it is to make popcorn on your stovetop. So I will get into showing you the ingredients for the caramel corn, and then we'll get into first popping the popcorn. Okay, I'm actually going to be having this recipe only because my mom would usually make it for like a large gathering, and I'm just making it for my family of 5. For the original recipe, you need 1 cup of popcorn, so I will be using a ½ cup, and then to make my popcorn on the stovetop, I use coconut oil to cook it in. So for the original recipe, you need 1 stick of butter, which I'm going to be using a vegan version to make this recipe vegan. You will need 1 cup of brown sugar. You will need 1/3 a cup of Karo syrup and ½ a teaspoon of baking soda. Like I mentioned, I will need to have this portion of the recipe as well. This is kind of the caramel portion of the caramel corn. Okay, for the popcorn, you will need a large pot to pop it in. And then I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of this coconut oil. And what you do is you take only 2 kernels, you heat the oil, you heat the 2 kernels until they pop, and then you take the pot off the heat for 1 minute, and then after the oil has cooled down a bit, you return it back to the heat, add the rest of your kernels, and let them pop until you hear them stop popping. With ½ a cup, it'll probably take about 2 to 3 minutes for that process. Now that the popcorn is popped, I'm going to do the caramel coating, and you just take the butter, the brown sugar, and the Karo syrup, mix them in a microwave safe bowl, and then you're going to be microwaving it at 2-minute intervals, stirring in between 2 times, so a total of 4 minutes. And then when that is done, you will add in the baking soda and stir that in, and it will be bubbly, and that's okay. So that is the next step. Okay, next up, what you're going to do is put your popcorn in a double paper bag. I just saved this one from my last grocery order pickup, and then you'll drizzle the caramel on top, close the bag up and shake it up, and then you'll be putting it in the microwave for 1½ minute, take it out, shake it up, put it back in for 1 minute, take it out, shake it up, and you'll do different durations. I will be sure to have the full recipe down in my description box below so you know exactly how to do this, and you will definitely need to keep shaking it up until this caramel corn cools down, otherwise you will have really big clumps. But let's get into making this caramel corn now. Okay, so as you might have seen, I was feeling like this was starting to smell a little bit burnt. I'm not sure if the problem is the recipe calls for butter, but I was using a plant-based butter, so it could be that. More likely it's because I halved the recipe, so it probably just did not need to be in the microwave for quite as long. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I'm going to continue shaking it up as it cools, and then a little bit later I'll come back and give it a taste test and see if I ruined this caramel corn recipe. But I will, like I said, put the actual recipe in the description box below, and if you follow that to a T with all of the ingredients and all of the times, then it will turn out. I have made this so many times in the past, but honestly, I can't remember if I've ever halved the recipe. So let me come back a little bit later and give it a taste test, and I will let you know. Okay, I'm back. It's actually not too long after I recorded the last clip. I'm gonna go ahead and shake this up again. But it's actually pretty cool already, which I'm surprised by. The other thought I had is I have never used that particular vegan butter, that brand. It's made with cashew milk, so it's a little bit different than the Earth Balance, which is made with more like oils. So I feel like that would probably work better with this recipe if I do it again. And I have a memory of using the Earth Balance and it working out fine. But again, I think the times microwaving it mostly had to do with the fact that I halved the recipe. But there's definitely pieces that look more burnt in here than others. So I'm gonna grab a handful and try to show you. Okay, so I'll taste a less burnt piece, or a couple of pieces. That still tastes pretty burnt. It almost has like a smoky flavor. It's burnt. So I definitely think that this needed to be microwaved for a less amount of time once I added the caramel, just because of having the recipe. But honestly, it's not bad. You know, it's caramel corn. It's not bad. Okay, you lovely people, that is all for today's recipe. I do hope you enjoyed this, in spite of the fact that this time around it was a bit of a fail for me. But like I mentioned, I will have the exact ingredients and measurements and explanation on how to make this caramel corn in the description box below. And if you follow that recipe, you should have no problems. I will also mention the Earth Balance vegan butter alternative. I think that one will work better than the butter that I tried to use today. But if nothing else, maybe you learned how to make popcorn on the stovetop if you didn't know how to do that already. But I did want to thank each and every one of you who is subscribed to my channel, who watches my videos each week. I do appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to wish you a very happy holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.